Now that we're here, the party can start. This is Black Streak Entertainment Podcast where black culture and anime collide. I'm Terry O'Ramey.
I'm Justin Ramey.
And we're here to chop it up about anime, about culture. And speaking of culture, P. Diddy, he has a lot going on right now.
Oh yeah. I'm sure it's great things.
Yeah, great things. Very, very believable things.
Yeah. Now these are allegations, of course, but I believe him.
He did that stuff.
Yeah.
But we bring P. Diddy up to bring up the fact that we went to REVOLT World, which of course is his festival.
Yes.
This was in September.
Yeah. That's what it was.
In September, and man, when I tell you that these allegations are completely believable about him, I see that reflected in the way that this whole festival was promoted, in the way that it actually played out.
Yeah.
the realistic
The reality
of it.
It coming out.
The reality.
Okay, if you want to know what REVOLT World is, it was supposed to be like a networking convention.
Yeah, for creatives in the entertainment industry.
Yeah,
to network with each other.
Yeah, mostly black people.
Yeah, that's how it was marketed.
Yes.
Now, how it actually, the reality of it was this. All right, so first of all, it starts with me getting a notification an hour before the event started. An hour before it started, I got a notification on the app that I downloaded for REVOLT World saying parking was limited. So, ride share. All right, this is an hour before the event. So I'm looking at this like, okay, well, first of all, it's a good thing I downloaded this app, because if I didn't, I drove down there in my car, we'd be out of luck.
Yeah.
So, what everybody else did who didn't have the app and didn't get that memo, I don't know. But that was the first red flag for me. Yeah. So we get there.
They didn't have their parking situation even set in stone before the event.
No.
Like this is a day of the event. They didn't even have the parking situation
set. They should have definitely messaged the people when
way
they sent
before.
Out the tickets.
It's not like we had a week to prepare for this thing. This was months.
Yeah, they announced it in July.
And how much were the tickets?
We'll get to that later. After we tell our story, we'll get to that. So we get there. We got an Uber. We get there, and it's again. I'm gonna repeat. They marketed this as an event for creatives and business professionals to network, right? So we get there with our backpacks and our bags. We got, our portfolio, our laptops, and, everything we need to network with the people we have meetings with. First of all, I start noticing as we get to the front gate that people are turning around and leaving. So I'm like, in my head, I'm thinking, okay, that's kind of weird. Why are people going back towards the entrance from the security section?
Yeah.
So we get there, and the security guard says, "Hey, man, you can't take those bags in." And I was starting to get pissed off. I'm like, really? Because there's no convention that I've been to many conventions. There's no convention that says you can't bring bags in. Yeah. And I was like, what do you mean, man? We got all of our stuff. This is a networking event. I don't know what you have in that bag. You could have, this is what he said. You could have a gun. You could have whatever. I'm like, then check it.
Yeah, it's like, that's why there's bag check.
This is your job. You're security. You're top flight security.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be checking the bags.
You got to go through a metal detector, and there's there's security. You got to go through that. It's like, I thought that was what it was for. You can check the bag.
Right. And we'll get to why they didn't want you to bring bags in a bit. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, and another thing is we had to there's a gate before you get to that gate where the guy tells you that you can't use your bag. You can't bring your bag in. Before you get to that point, you had to have your ticket ready.
Right.
At a gate.
Yeah, that's right.
At a gate 500 feet away from the security place. So, and no one at that gate said you can't bring that bag in.
No.
So there was no communication with the
no
staff at this event
whatsoever. All right, so we had to get another Uber, go all the way back to our Airbnb, and then come back to the event after we, dropped off all of our stuff. And we had to bring as much of our, our demo reels and everything, as much as we could with us on our phone, which, limits how much we can actually show people that we're meeting with. So we get inside and, we have our first couple of meetings. They went fine. But the whole event, the way it was set up, it took place at a movie studio in Atlanta. So there were different sound stages for different events that were going on at this festival, at the Revolt World Festival. We get to our sound stage, and I'm overhearing on the radios that the event coordinators had that they're having problems getting the VIP members who were supposed to be meeting with us, who we had meetings with, through the gate because top flight security wouldn't let the VIPs in with their bags. Yeah. The professionals.
Yeah. Again, no communication. No communication. It was ridiculous.
So the professionals were late for all the meetings that we had scheduled with them, which set things back even further. And that was a mess in itself. But let me get to the 5-star cuisine accommodations that they had at this event. So it was all who went. It was me, Justin, and my wife. Right. My wife wanted something to drink because it was hot out there. It was like in the 80s outside. It was a hot day.
And it's mostly outside.
Yeah, it was mostly outside. There were a lot of people just packed together on the lot. So I overheard this dude ask a girl who had a drink in her hand, hey, what are you drinking? And she said, I'm drinking lemonade. And he said, oh, for real? How much did that cost? She said, $10. And this dude said, $10? What the heck? Are you kidding me for some lemonade?
Yeah, it better be some gourmet lemonade.
So we get in line. There are like probably 3 food trucks at this event, right? Only 3 food trucks. All of them were selling fried fish and fried chicken plates.
Yeah, fried fries. You just fried everything.
Like Negroes don't like to eat, vegetables or anything baked.
Yeah, nothing fresh. It was
nothing
just
fresh.
It was just easy fried, just that kind of stuff.
So my wife is like, okay, I'm not eating any of this, but I would like to get a drink. First of all they had to drink at this event was beer, some $5 water, just a regular water bottle, and the lemonade, quote unquote.
Yeah,
that's all they had. Like, black folks, we don't like to drink smoothies or anything or tea.
And they try to trick us with the lemonade. It was like, okay, it's blue, it's blue,
it's blue, it's special,
it's red.
Yeah, so we get in line. We get to the front of the line. There's one other person in front of us, and I see the table skirt at their booth fly up from the wind hitting it. And behind the table skirt, I see cans of Country Time lemonade powder just stacked up. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
So I bumped my wife. I said, hey, look, there's your $10 lemonade. And she said, let's go. We're getting out of this line. We ain't, no. $10 for some Kool-Aid, basically.
Yes.
But that ain't there's more.
Yeah.
It gets better. We have another meeting and we leave that sound stage. Justin bumps me and says, hey, you know what? That's where your water's coming from for your lemonade.
Yep. There was like a hose connected
to the sound stage.
The
water spigot.
And you follow it with your eyes. It goes straight to the back of that lemonade stand, and that's where the water's coming from. You're just sucking on a hose for $10. That's all it was.
A hose water Kool-Aid for $10.
It's ridiculous.
It was the most hood project nonsense I'd ever seen.
Yeah, that was just $10.
$10.
That's such a big profit. I know they're in there to make money, but they're just ripping people off at that point. That is just not cool.
And that That's just part one.
Yeah, that's just part one. Part
we're
two.
Gonna have part two
will be later and then on the next episode.
Yeah, another episode. We're gonna have part two. So make sure you stay tuned for the Revolt World adventures.
Yeah.
But I'll close with this for part one. I heard one girl sum it up perfectly when she was on the phone with her friend walking by me. She said P. Diddy is too rich for this event to be this damn ghetto.
Yeah.
And that summed up the day perfectly.
Yeah.
I could have said it better myself.
Yeah, exactly. Part two, we're going to go by how much this thing costs. That's why it made me so angry.
Yes.
And the rest of it. So stay tuned for the next episode.
Yeah, more stories with top flight security at Revolt World.
Okay, so we're gonna take a little break, and then we're gonna come back with some anime. Our anime topic for this week.
And we're back on the Black Streak Entertainment Podcast, where black culture and anime collide. And we're going to get into our anime topic.
All right. So before we get into our topic of our anime topic, I'm going to go over an anime that I've been watching recently. It's this anime that came out in 2023 this year. It's called The Family Circumstances of the Irregular Witch. Now, I don't know if anybody's watching this. It's not popular, but it's a comedy. You could call it a comedy. It tries to be funny. It's a guilty pleasure for me because it's not that funny. But
what makes her irregular?
Because she's a human. They have okay. So the story is there's this witch that finds a human in the forest and she raises her. And that's pretty much it. And then it's just a slice of life with the human witch. Just trying to be funny. I do laugh a little bit sometimes, but a lot of the jokes don't land. But what just kind of makes it funny. But the thing about it is it's so weird. Okay, so they have the dynamic of the mom and the daughter. So the mom is like, she looks like a little girl, but she's like 200 years old. And
wait. So is the white girl the witch? The mom?
Yeah. The white girl is the witch, is the mom.
Oh,
because this is part of the joke. So
the
white girl is the witch, is the mom, and there's like a black character. Well, black. They don't specify, but she has dark skin for an anime character. Yeah. And but the thing is, she's supposed to be. It's clear, and they say it. She's supposed to be 17 years old. But she looks like an adult, and she sounds
yes,
and she sounds like an adult. They draw her just like an adult, and I'm like, what? That makes no. I don't know if that's the joke. Is that she looks like a straight up adult? But here's the thing: she looks like and she sounds like an adult, but she acts like she's 5 years old. It's so weird. It's confusing. It's very confusing. I'm like, what? Her age doesn't match how she acts, or how she sounds, or how she looks. It is, But if you just if it's a relaxing show to watch, it's good. I like it. It's a guilty pleasure. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody because they'd probably be like, what is this? but it is. I'm gonna watch the whole thing. But there's this funny thing about the show where she like the mom has friends that she grew up with, and they're like regular characters in the show. They're like the daughter calls her her aunties or whatever. And they had an episode about familiars. You know what a familiar is?
A familiar? No.
It's like when witches have cats or crows. That's
okay.
what a familiar is.
Right.
And the daughter, I think her name is Violetta. She wants to get a familiar, so she summons a phoenix. And the phoenix looks like a kid drew it, and it has a really deep voice when it talks, but the beak doesn't move when it talks. And the phoenix is a regular character in the show, and I think the phoenix is funny. But anyway, back to the familiars and the aunties or whatever. They explain what the aunties familiars are. One of them is familiars the snake, and the other one is a very funny joke. That the other witch, her familiars are three gimp men. Yeah, like the gimp in Pulp Fiction.
Pulp Fiction,
yeah. So
with the S&M stuff.
Yeah, with S&M stuff. It's very funny, and the mom tries to keep those men away from the daughter. It's a funny joke. That's a very clever joke that I like. But anyway, the title of the show is The Family Circumstances of the Irregular Witch, and I like I said, I don't recommend it, but I do like it.
Okay, that sounds interesting.
Yeah,
looks different.
And so now we'll get to our topic of anime.
Okay.
So I don't know how old our listeners are, but I'm sure that they range in different generations.
Yeah.
So, but in our generation, we were born in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So anime wasn't very easily available as it is today with streaming.
Not at all.
And like production companies actually investing in it.
Mm-hmm.
So what we had to do was, one way was renting anime.
Mm-hmm.
And this was back when VHS was the thing.
Back in the 90s.
Yeah, back in the 90s, VHS
late
tapes.
90s.
Where we had your Blockbusters or whatever local video rental store you had.
And,
so
go ahead. My bad.
So you had to get what you can get. You
Yeah.
couldn't request anything.
No,
So you just got whatever they had available.
Yeah, you were forced to, explore different anime, even if it was necessarily something you cared about.
Yeah,
you were forced to. I mean, it was all you got what you had.
yeah,
That's it.
And it was usually in like the special interest section. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
So they had a section
by
called
the porn.
Yeah, so they had a special. They had a section in video rental stores called special interest, and that's where you could find your anime. And when we were kids, our anime experience was like Studio Ghibli stuff.
Yeah.
And
before we knew what anime was.
Yeah.
My Neighbor Totoro.
My Neighbor Totoro, Samurai Pizza Cats, Speed Racer, stuff like that. Like some stuff that came on TV, and especially stuff like you just mentioned, My Neighbor Totoro and stuff like that. So when we started renting them from the video stores, we found out that they actually had them in Japanese.
Oh yeah.
Our first subtitle title was The Slayers.
Yeah.
And the Slayers like swore, like they had curse words in it, and we're like, what? Because we're dumb little kids. We like cartoons. Yeah, we didn't know cartoons cuss. We were dumb little, good little Christian boys, so we didn't know cartoons cuss. And we rented the Slayers, and it was hilarious. And they swore, and it wasn't even bad swearing. It was just like D's and H's. It wasn't crazy.
Yeah.
But we were surprised, and like I don't know if a lot of other people had that experience. I don't know if they automatically knew that anime was more adult oriented compared to the cartoons we had in the United States, but that was an eye opener.
Yeah.
And like that, the Slayers and Dirty Pair Flash, that was one of our first. That was first subtitles for us. But
I don't know what else.
Yeah, but like the rental stores would have what they had, and I remember renting the Tekken movie.
Oh, the first one,
the anime Tekken movie, and I hated it.
We're not talking about the one that came out on Netflix recently. We're talking about the original one that was based off the first Tekken game.
Yes.
The one where Kazuya was the main character. It was awful.
Yeah. I
don't think you can find it anywhere anymore.
Oh,
I highly doubt it.
You can find it on YouTube. Just look at it. Yes. So
it's trash.
So just look on YouTube and you'll see. You probably won't be able to finish it because it's so bad.
Yeah.
But the things that came out in the 90s and early 2000s, it was kind of it wasn't as big as today. Like now they pretty much release like pretty much everything now.
Yeah.
So
that's because the anime industry has Hollywood behind it.
Yeah.
Back then, Hollywood didn't care about anime.
It was so independent.
It was independent.
It was independent. It's crazy. It's like there was Pioneer was a production company. ADV. And other stuff.
I forget who did the Dragon Ball Z.
I think it was Pioneer.
Pioneer did Dragon Ball Z before Funimation got big.
Yeah.
Before it was on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
That's how far back we go. We were watching Dragon Ball Z before it was on Cartoon Network when you had the either you had it in your region playing on TV like at 5 in the morning
Yeah.
on Fox, or you didn't.
Yeah.
And then it came out on Cartoon Network like around 1999. And everybody was like, "Oh, Dragon Ball Z, this is amazing." We're like, "Yeah, we've been watching this for years."
Yeah, and I think the first thing that we saw of Dragon Ball Z was Dragon Ball, like
the original Dragon Ball,
the Curse of the Blood Rubies movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if we rented it first or if we bought it. Okay.
And
we rented it.
We watched it like a bajillion times.
Yes, I loved that when I was a kid.
That was before I knew Dragon Ball Z existed.
Yes.
I didn't know it was big. I thought it was something that nobody knew about anywhere. And then I come to find out it's like one of the biggest shows on planet Earth that just didn't reach America yet.
Yeah. Because I thought it was just Dragon Ball.
Dragon Ball, Goku as a kid.
And like going a little bit beyond the renting of animes, it was like actually purchasing it was even harder.
Dang.
Because it was like, you know how you go to, like if you're a card collector and you have to go to different shops to find the card that you want, like the card, like if it's like a baseball card or a Pokemon card or something like that, you had to go to different shops because each shop had different cards available. So it's like with the anime, they don't, like they only had like 2 or 3 episodes on each VHS.
And each VHS cost $20, if you were lucky, $20 to $40.
Yes.
Some of them cost $50. And all you were getting were 2 or 3 episodes on each tape.
Yeah.
It wasn't like today.
And it was either dubbed or subbed, or just dubbed.
Dubbed or subbed, or just, You couldn't switch between anything.
You couldn't switch between or anything like you did in DVDs. But anyway, it was like I don't know if you guys remember Suncoast. It was like a store predominantly in malls. It was like a video store. Mm-hmm. That's where we got anime. And Best Buy sold anime. So those 2 stores, when I was a kid, those were the 2 stores that I frequently visited to look for anime, because they would have they'd probably have volume 1 or tape 1, or they had tape 2, or they just have tape 10. You don't know what you're gonna get.
You don't know what you're gonna get. You don't know what they have in stock. So you have to watch the series out of order.
So whenever we went on vacation, like with our parents, when they took us on vacations, we'd go to a mall and look for a tape that they don't sell in our state. You know, and now that was like what we used our allowance money on. It was like to buy a tape out of state that we couldn't get in our own state. Because even like, if you could imagine, the internet wasn't even big and selling at that time.
Nope.
So you couldn't just go to an internet store and just be like, okay, I'll get that.
Yeah.
It was impossible. You couldn't do it. So stores didn't have the internet service.
Just to put it into context, you can get a whole season of Dragon Ball Z for like $30 a day on Blu-ray, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Back then you were getting one tape for $30 to $35 of Dragon Ball Z, the edited version, and you were only getting 3 episodes on a tape.
Yes.
For $35.
Yes.
So the times were different back then. It was rough for anime fans,
but
especially kids.
Yeah. But after a while, and that's why the anime pool was so small. And during the 90s and early 2000s, because they had to bring the good stuff over.
Yeah.
Because nowadays you get garbage anime.
They'll
anywhere,
ship anything over, and you get it like the day of too that it comes out in America, in Japan.
Yeah.
Not back then. We had fan subs. Remember those?
Yeah. Had fan subs and
VHS fan subs were not like the ones from like the 2000s where you could just download them. No, you had to find a website, first of all, with someone who, like with Sailor Moon, for example. I had to search and find a website that sold the seasons of Sailor Moon that weren't available here in America back in the 90s. These guys would subtitle the Sailor Moon anime and distribute the tapes to people who would order it from them. And they'd ship from Canada. So you had to pay for the shipping, which was well over $100 for all those doggone tapes that a season of Sailor Moon was recorded on.
Yeah, it's wild. It was wild back then. Wild west of anime in the West. It was crazy. And like I was saying, like, you had to bring the popular good stuff over because you don't want to spend like $30 on something or $40 on a tape and two episodes are trash and you're not going to buy any more. Mm-hmm. So they only got the good stuff over here. But now they just bring anything because it's cheaper to produce now.
Yeah, and you got to pay for it and file sharing and stuff, or even just streaming.
Yeah, Yeah, streaming will be another topic that we'll go over because that just changed the game completely. Mm-hmm. But if any of you guys remember how hard it was to find anime back in the day, just leave a comment if you can, because it's a good memory. I like that memory.
It was a hunt.
Yep. So we're gonna take a little break here, and we'll come back and we'll talk about some Blackstreak Entertainment stuff.
And before that, I want to remind y'all to visit blackstreakentertainment.com/join to gain exclusive access to Blackstreak anime, manga, games, and more. We'll be right back. All right, and we are back. And, we're going to give you Blackstreak news and updates. For those of you who don't know, Blackstreak Entertainment is a anime content producer. And right now, our biggest project that we're working on is a game for the PC and Nintendo Switch called Alien Up. Created and developed by this man right here, Justin Rainey.
Hello.
So, tell them a little about Alien Up, man.
Alien Up is a pixel action shooter for people who like to play games like Contra or Cuphead. Think of those two games when you're thinking about Alien Up. Mm-hmm. That's what inspired Alien Up, and games like Forgotten Worlds, if anybody remembers that game, that Capcom game. So it's like you are a space mechanic named Chelsea Crisp, and you have to defend your space colony from a sudden invasion of aliens. So it's going to be like a comedy game. It's inspired by the best genre of anime, which is 90s anime. Mm-hmm. That's more of a generalization, just 90s anime. I really like 90s anime, and I incorporate that into my animations and the pixel art that I do. So if you want to try out the game, you want to see how it looks, I'd recommend going to Steam and looking up Alien Up, and you could download the free demo and play it.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I like the elements of strategy that you add in it, with the assist characters.
Yes,
and how each assist character has a role in the stage that you're on.
Yeah,
because the stages are really fast paced.
Yeah,
they're really fast paced, but each one has a strategy that you need to pin down in order to beat it, and the assist characters are part of that strategy.
Yeah, the way the game is, the mechanics of the game I like to have it limited. See, so it's not like Cuphead where you can run around and jump around, or Contra where you can run around and jump around. You're stationary. The only thing you can do is shoot or dodge. You'll also be able to do more things as the game goes on, but like Terry was saying, there's a strategy with the levels, and if you're going to duck, or if you're going to jump, or if you're going to use your assist characters. And the assist characters were inspired by games like Marvel vs. Capcom 2. If anybody remembers that game, which everybody should, because that was one of the best crossover games ever made.
Right.
So you call in your assist character, they'll put up a shield, or they'll put up some kind of beam, or they'll shoot something out, or they'll supply you with something. So that was incorporated into the game. It's a very fun mechanic to put into the game, and it creates a great dynamic for gameplay. And each character, like each support character, is going to have a good personality or a memorable personality, so people can like the characters in the game. There's one character that people might see towards the end of the demo. He's like a red guy, mm-hmm. with a heart on his head. That's manager number 1. So the thing about manager number 1 is he's just a robot. He's not a person, but he's a robot, and he manages Chelsea and the people that do the mechanics, like the mechanical work on the colony. And he looks creepy. He looks ridiculous. He looks creepy. And they have the heart on top of his head just to humanize him. Like the people who made him put the human heart on him just to humanize him, but people still don't get it. They still think he's creepy. They still think he's weird looking. But he was one of like one of the first mechanical people to be made on the colony. So that's his history, and he's always misunderstood, and I think that's pretty funny.
He reminds me of Red Skull.
Yeah,
every time I see him.
Yeah, he has like a Red Skull face, but he's in a suit, and he has a helmet. Like he has like a flight helmet on that says manager in kanji on it, and he has a human heart on top of that helmet. So it's like I said, it's going to be a comedy game, and if you want to support it, which I really hope you do, we have an Indiegogo campaign that's going to be going on in early 2024 for the development of the game, because I can't develop the game myself. I'll have to hire an actual game development company to develop it.
Yeah, and
with that comes money,
right,
and realistic expectations. So just download the pre-alpha demo. The pre-alpha demo was completely made by me, so there's gonna be problems with it. But I know about the problems, and it's just a pre-alpha demo for concept. So the art's gonna remain the same, but everything else is gonna be up to the development team and me actually directing the development team to keep the game as fun as possible without wasting anybody's time. Because I'm a gamer. And I hate it when there's AAA games out there that's just all about graphics and no fun.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's games out there, even if they're like, no, the graphics aren't great, you can still have a lot of fun with these games. Mm-hmm. And there's a combination of games where the graphics aren't good and the gameplay's terrible. So so I want to have a balance of mostly fun over graphics, even though I'm trying to make the game look as unique as possible with the pixel art, and not just phone in the pixel art. I'm putting some love into this pixel art.
Yeah, I love the pixel art, and what I really like about the game is another element I like about it is it's a sci-fi game with black and brown characters.
Yeah,
like
how many games can you say that has that?
None. How much sci-fi stuff can you say has black lead characters? Period.
Yeah,
like you just don't see that in the genre.
No,
I mean, black people, we love sci-fi.
Yeah,
so it's just really cool to see a game with the main character who's a black. It's cool to see a sci-fi game, some of the sci-fi genre, with the main character who's a black girl.
Yeah,
and the supporting characters are black as well, and they have their own individual personalities.
Yes.
So that's what I love about it.
Personalities that don't just revolve around the stereotype of what black people are in media.
No.
It's just they just happen to be black. That's how I write them as. They just happen to be black, and I put the personality in to entertain people, not just to fit some kind of to check a box or to fit a stereotype.
Right. So that's what's really dope about Alien Up. It's a lot of fun. Y'all will enjoy it, and there's no way you're gonna breeze right through the demo, because it's a challenging game, but it's a lot of fun figuring out. For me, it's a lot. Judging can breeze through it because he's the developer, but for me, it's a lot of fun figuring out how the heck I'm supposed to beat certain stages, because each stage has a strategy, and you have to use the weapons that are given to you and the assist characters that are given to you in a certain way in order to beat it. So that's the fun part for me. And it's fast-paced action. So like Justin was saying, there's an Indiegogo campaign that we have launching in March of 2024. You can sign up at blackstreakpod.com/perk, and you will be able to save 50% off of launch day perks when you sign up and register at blackstreakanime.com/perk. So make sure you do that. We got some dope perks, man. We got everything from t-shirts and hoodies to having your art, your fan art featured in the game gallery.
Yeah. And like if you play the demo, you'll see where your art could go, because like, you know, before you start the level, every level there's a different piece of art before that level, like as a loading screen.
On the loading screen. Oh, that's how you're doing it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so your art actually goes on the loading screen. All right, that's dope.
And it'll also be in the gallery. It's like if you just want to see it, and you don't have to go to the level to see it.
Okay.
So yeah, if you're interested in that kind of thing, that'll be up your alley. And also, I love getting feedback on the game, like how it could be better, or what you're getting like stuck on. Because when I see people play the demo, I see what they're stuck on, and how it's not how I'm not communicating what you're supposed to be doing, and it really helps me develop a better game for people. Because like Terry said, I could breeze through the game because I develop it. It takes many days, many hours to develop a video game, and you're doing the same thing over and over again. You're just getting used to it, and you know how the sausage is made. So you know what's coming up next, and what's supposed to happen. So if you get someone going in blind, you can figure out, okay, that's a little too hard, or that's not read right, or they don't know what to do here. So I would like to have feedback from as many people as possible, so I can make a game that's very fun to play.
All right, sounds good. So yeah, make sure y'all sign up at blackstreakanime.com/perk. You'll get updates on the Alien Up Indiegogo campaign. We'll notify you the day before and the day of the launch, and you can sign up and register to get 50% off of your perk on launch day. All right, and with that, I think we're going to take a break, right?
Yep.
All right, we'll be right back. And the party continues on the Black Streak Entertainment Podcast. So we're going to switch gears here and talk about our subject for the episode. Disney recently came out. The CEO, Bob Iger, came out, and he made like a really strange promise that more so sounded like a confession for lack of effort. He said Disney promises to make better films. And it's like, I mean, shouldn't that have been a goal to begin with?
Yeah.
To make good movies?
Like what that says to me is he and his company got a little bit too comfortable.
Yeah, and they just didn't give a what anymore and decided to put out whatever.
Yep.
But what he says is they're going to have an emphasis on telling better stories rather than messaging. And by that, he from what I was reading, he said that they want to tell engaging stories, but all with positive messages in it that educate people and push cultures forward, but be entertaining as well. Like they did he used Black Panther as an example.
Yeah.
Perfect example, because they were both phenomenal films, and they have strong messaging behind them about, colonization and the differences between African Americans and Africans, and the damage that colonization did and slavery did to Black people, and also in the newest one to South American people, like who's the villain? Namor.
Namor, yeah.
Namor, yeah. So, in that regard, I agree with them. They need to come out with more movies that have strong messaging, but also a good story that's entertaining.
Yeah.
But that should have been your goal to begin with.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with them. I think what happened with them is that they just started to spread their self way too thin.
Yeah, that's what he said as well.
They're buying everything up. They're buying everything, and they're trying to do everything all at once. And then they come out with a streaming service where they're trying to put everything on that, and then also come out with stuff on theaters. It's like people can only write so much.
Yeah.
And people can only focus on so much. It like for me, I'm not a multitasker. If I try to do two things at once, they're both going to suffer. I have to focus on one thing and work on that. So and Disney's working on all these things at once, and they're just getting diluted.
Yeah,
and
they're
they
doing too much,
and they think that the Disney name is so strong that people will be sycophantic to it, and just get whatever slop they give them.
Right. And when he talks about having an emphasis on storytelling and not just on messaging, it's insulting to me when studios just want to put a certain, okay, from the Black perspective, it's insulting to me when studios just want to make a generalized story that has no cultural relevance to Black people and then just put a Black person in it, thinking, okay, if we put a Black person in this, people are going to go watch it, even though it doesn't come from an authentic place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Black Panther came from an authentic place. Ryan Coogler and his folks wrote it. He directed it. They basically had full control over it, so it felt authentically Black. You know what I mean? It wasn't just a story written by white folks that they threw a Black person into. And that's I think that's one thing that he's speaking on that they need to do better at.
Yeah.
Like, because they'll throw stuff in a movie just for the sake of throwing it in there to attract people. Like, for example, with the last Star Wars movie that was in theaters.
Which one? Oh, okay. Was that the start? The last?
Yeah, episode 8. I forget what it was called. It's not important because those movies were a joke.
Yeah.
The last two were a joke. The Force Awakens was great.
Yeah, it had a good start.
That movie.
The Force Awakens was a good joke, and the last two just went off the rails.
Yeah, the last one that tried to fix the one before it, Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, they just randomly had, like, at the end, very end of the movie, when they defeated the Emperor, they randomly had just two women kissing in the back that were part of the Resistance. That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like, what relevance does that have to the story?
Yeah, it's just
throwing it in there to check a box.
Yeah, just checking boxes.
That's for me. Again, a Black person. If they were just to throw a Black person into the movie just in a role, and it wasn't authentically Black, and it made no sense whatsoever, you just want to get Black people to come see it.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah,
yeah.
They like a lot, not even Disney, like a lot of the entertainment industry
does it all the time.
Are checking boxes just to do something, and it's like you're not pleasing anyone at this point. You're trying to please everybody just by throwing stuff in there, and it's just not. If it's not part of the story, then it's not going to please anybody.
No,
like I don't have a problem with homosexuality stuff if it has something to do with the story,
right?
Or if they, but it doesn't seem like they're checking a box, because I see a lot of times where they're just putting a person that's not white in there, and they make them gay, and that's the only, and they're checking two boxes at once. They're like, we need to have more diversity in there. Okay, we'll put a Black person in there. They'll also be gay. Okay, we're good. It's like that you're just throwing it in there. It's not part of the story.
Can you have a personality, please?
Yeah, it's like
can you have an actual background, some character development?
Yeah, it's like this isn't Disney, but I like to go to Umbrella Academy. They had a gay character in it, and it was just part of the story, like the one that went to war and all that. Remember?
Talking about Klaus?
Yeah, Klaus.
The dude that could see ghosts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was,
I remember that, the first season.
It was part of the story, so I'm like, okay, that's fine, that's great. I had no problem with that, but when they just added just to check a box, then I get mad. But Disney has this problem. Whenever it comes to like a Black character being the main character, they always have to compromise it with something else. Like, for instance, The Princess and the Frog.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. Yeah.
It's like, oh, cool, we got our first Black quote unquote Disney princess. She was kind of a princess.
From New Orleans.
Yeah, New Orleans.
African American princess.
And like 10% of the movie, she's human.
Yeah.
And then 90% she's a frog. It's like, okay, cool. And then they come out with what was it?
The Jamie Foxx one.
What was the Jamie Foxx one?
Soul.
Yeah, Soul. It's like, okay, now he's a little character. It's like, I like Soul, but it's like he's not. He's a little character.
Can he be a black man for like at least 90% of the, at least 50% of the movie? Can he be a black dude?
Yeah.
Can he be human?
It's ridiculous. It's like, and the Little Mermaid, the live action Little Mermaid. It's like they have that, but they couldn't have a black prince. And they had to go through all these hoops
all those hoops to explain why he's white.
Yeah, it's like the queen is black too, but the prince had to be white, and they had to go through all these hoops to explain. It's like, why couldn't you just make him black and just take the hoops out?
Two black people in love.
And back to why Disney hasn't been doing good lately. It's just like, why would you continue to ride the horse of creating live action remakes of things that were already made?
Yeah,
and it's like, it's just so diluted at that point, because the original animations were based off of something else that was already based off of fairy tales that already existed.
It's not even an original story.
It's not even an original story, so they're just diluting something that was already diluted. And the reason why the animation was so popular is because it was animation. The animation looked great.
Yeah.
And especially during the Renaissance phase, when the Little Mermaid came out.
Oh yeah, that was like 7-8 years on those movies.
Yeah, that was the start of the Renaissance, when Disney became really popular, because it was popular, but then it died out.
Yeah,
Disney always have a rise and a fall. It died out when the 60s, 70s, when
the early 80s, early mid 80s.
Yeah, and
can anybody name a Disney movie from the mid 80s?
There's the Black Cauldron that failed.
Who
terribly.
knows what that is?
Yeah,
no one knows what that. I know what it is, but nobody
failed
else.
Terribly. It had really good animation, but the story wasn't there. The story was bad. Yeah, Disney always has a rise and fall. And we're in the fall stage of Disney.
Yeah,
because they had their Renaissance
again.
Yeah,
they fell in the 2000s.
Yeah, they did. Treasure Planet.
Actually, it started. I would say it started with Tarzan.
Probably.
When they released Tarzan, that's when it started. Because what was the movie before that? Mulan. Mulan was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mulan. Then before that was Hercules. Hercules was freaking dope. Before that was A Hunchback of Notre Dame. I didn't like that one.
I haven't seen that in a long time, but I probably like it as an adult.
Maybe. And then before that you had Pocahontas, which, okay, that didn't age well. Before that, you had The Lion King. Lion King was what really set it off for Disney. And then I think once The Lion King came out, that was such a phenomenon, they just got comfortable. Because, again, it takes 7 years for them to make these movies.
Yeah.
So The Lion King, you have to think, they started producing that in 1987. That came out in 94. So by time The Lion King came out, you got 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99... 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
The next movie that came out after that in 2001 was Treasure Planet, and that movie was terrible.
Yeah.
And they started developing that right after The Lion King. So that tells you everything that you need to know about Disney. When they're on a high, they feel like, okay, we can just come out with garbage and the people will come watch it.
Yeah.
It's just history repeating itself again.
Yeah. That could be that's one of the factors of it.
And they didn't come out with another good movie until when? The
Probably.
Princess and the Frog.
Yeah,
Princess and that was right after they started developing that movie right after Treasure Planet.
Yeah,
because that came out in 09, which means it was 7-8 years after Treasure Planet. So that's what they do.
Yeah,
they come out with garbage. They fail. They come out with good stuff, and then they have a phenomenon, and then they get comfortable, come out with garbage because they think people are going to go watch it. And then when that fails, they try to come out with something good.
Yeah.
So watch. In the next 6-7 years, they're going to come out with another phenomenal movie that they actually put effort into.
Yeah. And sometimes they strike gold because, like you said, it takes a long time for all this stuff to develop. Like, I don't know when Lilo and Stitch was made, but it was probably in between. Yeah, it was in between the time where
Lilo and Stitch was great.
They were falling, but they still come out with something really good.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Pixar was part of Disney at that point, but
no.
Toy Story 3 was really good. And then
Disney picked up Pixar in 07.
Yeah.
That was Bob Iger. He's the one that bought Disney off of Apple owned it. That was their
okay.
company. They created Pixar.
And then that's the Disney thing. They buy things up and then just dilute everything. So like they come out with Toy Story 3, and then they come out with the bright idea to make Toy Story 4, and no one cared about it because it wasn't good and it wasn't necessary. They shouldn't have did it. Then they came up with another great idea and come out with Lightyear. Speaking of having a
yeah, that was another complaint about Lightyear, where they had the gay character.
Yeah,
but
for
there
no
was
reason,
no development
and
at all.
it's like, oh, cool, there's a black woman. I bet she's gonna be gay, and I was like, yep, she is. It's like that's of course,
and it just wasn't a good movie.
Yeah, it was a good movie. It didn't make any sense.
It was boring.
No, not the movie didn't make any sense, but it was just like it didn't make any sense to make that canonical with this Toy Story world. It's like it just retcon everything. Yeah. But no one wanted that, and there was coming out stuff that no one wants, and it's this thing of like they have to kind of develop things with the growth of social media, because now all these adults that remember the good nostalgia of when they're growing up with Disney are the ones that are complaining on the internet about this stuff, and it's causing them to keep failing. Because everybody's listening to these adults saying, "Oh, this movie stinks," blah, 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 blah. And it's like
supposed to be for the kids.
Yes,
anyway.
and these movies are for the kids,
They're children's movies,
and they're getting blasted by adults that spend the money. So but they just need to, like I said, rise and fall. This is the fall. They're gonna have to rise back up again.
They will. They've got the money.
Yeah, they got the money. They need to calm down with buying everything. Because all these independent companies are coming out with cool stuff. Netflix has cool stuff sometimes coming out with like animation. So they just need to up their game, go back to drawing board, slow down, and come out with more quality stuff.
Yeah, Disney will be all right.
Yeah, they'll be all right, but because like they always do, they always come back up after a fall. Mm-hmm. It's like you go down, then you realize something is really good once you see something really good because they went down so low.
Yeah, pick yourself back up and have some continuity with the doggone whatever phase we're in with Marvel. I lost count. I don't know what phase they're in right now, but there's been no continuity. I have no idea what this next story is about.
Yeah.
The last story, it was clear it was about the Infinity Stones. I got it. It made sense.
Yes.
Thanos, the Infinity Stones, that whole saga, I saw it from the start.
Yeah, the stones connected the story. There's no connection.
There's no connection here. I don't know what the heck's going on. I guess Kang is supposed to have some kind of... I wouldn't know that if I didn't know that Kang had a movie coming out. That there was an Avengers movie. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess...
Please have some damn continuity with these Marvel movies.
I guess we could talk more about that in the next episode of just Marvel in general, the Marvel Disney MCU stuff.
Yes. All right, so yeah, I think we did it, Yep. So make sure that y'all visit blackstreakentertainment.com/join to gain exclusive access to Blackstreak anime, manga, games, and more. And make sure you, again, go to blackstreakanime.com/perk to sign up for updates on our Alien Up campaign.
Yes. And remember, boku no kami ni sawaranai de kudasai.
Well. Oh.
And goodbye.
Peace.